Hi, everybody. It's Chris in the North Conway studio, and I am joined remotely for a great interview by Lee Dyer, who is with the Fryeburg New Church Assembly and is the race registrar of a great event coming up, and also the Reverend Dr. George F. Dole, who is a Fryeburg native and the only American to compete in the famous 1954 race in Oxford, in which Roger Bannister broke the 4-minute mile barrier. So we're going to talk a little bit about running history and a great new event. Welcome, and thank you so much for joining us today, albeit remotely. And we'll start with you, George. George, you competed in 1954 in Oxford, England, in what was then, and still is today, one of the most famous races of all time. What are your memories of that race? What makes it so special?
My own memories, I think the simplest thing I can say is that I really was half spectator and half competitor. I had known Chris Chataway, our time at Oxford overlapped by a year, liked him very much. And I was getting rumors that there were going to be an effort. And when the three of them showed up, the two Chris's and Roger, and with the coach, I said, this is the day. And I was much more interested in what they were doing than in what I was going to do. It was what they call at Oxford, your school's term, the term you prepare for your final exams, which are the only exams you take, and they completely determine your degree. And they're beasts. 3 hours a day, 2 days a week, two a day, 3 hours each, 3 days on, 1 day off, and 3 days on, 6 days. And most runners just quit running to get ready for those exams. But I was putting most of my energy on them. I was in the race because I won the Oxford-Cambridge mile in March, but I really had not been working out terribly hard since then, so I wasn't expecting to do an awful lot, but I was fascinated by what was going on up front.
So it was almost a little bit of luck that you got involved in this race, and it seems like you were starstruck by the presence of these world-class runners who you were going to be running with. Were you nervous running this race? What was your plan? Did you have a sense that this would be the day that the 4-minute mile barrier would be broken? Because previously no one had been able to run a mile faster than 4 minutes.
Yeah, no, I felt that Roger had a very good chance of doing it. And he had an excellent coach, an excellent team, and I'm sure they had worked very hard toward it and had everything well planned. I felt I had earned the right to be there. I was the college's top miler. They had a better one, but he was injured. So I really deserved to be there, but I was curious as to what I might do, but I didn't have any great investment in doing it.
And so we know that day Roger Bannister did in fact break the 4-minute mile mark. How did you do that day?
I think they didn't time me. I came in 5th out of 6. And the one who came in behind me was Chris Brasher, who had set the pace for the first half mile and another half lap.
Yep.
And afterwards, I think, just went to the outside lane and jogged to finish, because he knew, and everybody knew, that if he did not finish the race, it would not qualify for record, because he would have not have been so obviously not a real competitor.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and Lee, we're joined by George Dole of Fryeburg and also Lee Dyer. We're about to talk with Lee about a big event celebrating this race coming up. But George, first, what was the reaction like when Bannister crossed the line and there was a sense that he had broken this long anticipated record?
Well, the dear British, they know how to play the game. I want to tell you, of course, there was a dead silence, and they're waiting for the announcement. And the announcement came, and the winner, and I think they went through three things: setting a new meat record, a new British record, and a new world record in the time of 3, and then everything exploded.
You couldn't hear the rest after that.
Yeah, but they just delayed that 3 as long as they could. Yeah.
Wow, that must have, I'm getting chills just listening to you retell that story. So one of the world's greatest athletic moments, really, as the first human to ever run a mile in under 4 minutes. And that was all the way back in 1954 in Oxford, England. But we still commemorate that race today and celebrate his accomplishments, but also yours, George, in participating in that great race with a fundraising event for the Fryeburg New Church Assembly. Lee, why don't you tell us a little bit about this event that's coming up and how people can participate?
Okay. This will be the 7th year we have had the Dole 3-miler, and it's in Fryeburg at the rail trail. However, this year it's virtual, like everything else in our world right now. So register, run 3 miles anytime between when you register and August 8th at 9:30. Your totals must be submitted. And if you can find a 3-mile hill, run down that. Whatever, just get that time in. You can walk, you can run, you can jog, you can do it with your dog. And the $20, you will receive a shirt. This year it is red. And everyone receives a prize, a medallion. The first woman and first man will receive $100 from Tracksmith, which is a running, if you're in the running world, you'll know that's the elite running apparel store. And second place, men and women will receive a New Balance gift card. And third place, a gift card from a local bookstore, Bridgeton Books.
Very nice.
And our big prize is the 5th place winner. And there have been many people in the past who have run and they know they're not first, and then they will stand back and wait, and they'll count because they want that 5th place. And that is a picture of picture of the race with George and Roger both in the picture running.
Wow.
George has very kindly signed his name away, and you will get a signed, so it's authentic copy of this. And that's the 5th place.
All right.
And
that prize may be more difficult to get this year because you won't know. In previous years, it was you could race against other people and you'd know roughly, where 5th place was. This year, it's virtual. So whoever has the 5th best time gets that signed picture.
Yes. And unfortunately, we will not be able to take the picture with George. So we're hoping that whoever wins this year, everyone will come back next year, and it will not be virtual.
We hope not.
We hope not, right.
Hope to get back to normal soon.
Yes.
And this is a fundraiser, we should mention, for the Fryeburg New Church Assembly. It's been going on for a few years now and has become a popular event in Fryeburg.
The race or the camp?
Probably both.
Both. Okay. The race, this is our 7th year.
Yep.
And we have about 100 participants. And we are on track for that as well right now. So that's perfect. The camp will be celebrating its 100th birthday next year. So lots of celebration next year. And the camp started, George, you're going to have to help me here. I believe it was George's father or grandfather. Father was one of the original founders of the camp. And it pulled in many people from all over New England and the United States. And it's still, we have many lecturers that come. And this year it's all virtual as well. So,
and what is the camp? What's the purpose and the mission of the camp?
The camp is based on our theology, which is Emanuel Swedenborg, and it's the new church. And it is just to bring presence to our everyday life and to have basically, if you can incorporate heaven on earth, then you've arrived. So that's what we try to accomplish. George could probably tell you more, but
we will. Let's finish with George. But before we let you go, Lee, how do people get involved in this race? How do they sign up?
Perfect. Go to our the Dole 3-miler .com. So Dole, DOLE 3miler.com. You can register through that, and that's it. Everything else is done.
All right. And George, why don't you give us a little bit of the history of this camp? How you are a Fryeburg native, right? So you went from Fryeburg to Oxford and then brought the whole world back with you to Fryeburg, it seems.
Yeah. No, when my father was pastor of the Swedenborgian Church in Fryeburg, and I was born in the parsonage, and we lived in Fryeburg through my first grade. At that point, Dad changed churches, moved and took our church in Bath, Maine, and was there, served there, and actually until he died. That's what I pretty much grew up in Bath. My memories of growing up in Fryeburg are fairly slim, but once the camp didn't meet at all during World War II, but I think,
correct. That is correct.
Yeah. But so I attended there every year, the assembly, every year, except my 2 years at Oxford. And some of my closest friends wound up being Massachusetts guys who came to the assembly every year. Yeah. Wow. One of them, incidentally, just died about 2 years ago, and I was able to say my earliest memory of him was when he kept me out of my inner tube in the Saco River before I had learned to swim.
Oh, hopefully it was a hot year and the water was a little bit low.
Yeah.
Well, we want to thank you both for joining us. Again, if you want to participate in this great race commemorating one of the most epic athletic accomplishments of all time, and one of our own local community members, George Dole's participation in it, you can go to dole3miler.com, fundraise. You can win some great prizes, and you can be a part of local history as we celebrate world history. So I want to thank you so much for joining us, George. Hopefully we'll see you next year for this event.
That's the plan.
And hopefully you'll be running it next year, right? You can work out all this year.
I hope so.
And Lee, thank you so much again for joining us. And good luck with your event.